What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your feet on the ground, you'll always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. Hi, I'm Andy.
Hi, Andy.
I'm a failure. To quote or paraphrase singer Beck Hansen, "Soy un perdedor." I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me? We all face devastation in some form in our lives. Almost at all times. Death of loved ones, loss of jobs, loss of love, relationships, friendships, and our own health. Even if we are not facing any of those things right now, we know we will. We all know that is a fact of life. What keeps us going, knowing that we will die someday, that we will fail, that we will be broken. I promise you I won't lay on the self-help quotes. Pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, dust yourself off and get back out there. If you've just been dumped or left in some funk, the last thing you want to hear is someone tell you how great their life is, that they worked hard to achieve it, and you can too if you buy their book and devote your life to them. I know from personal experience, my failure, especially since I pride myself on being intelligent, my failure was probably the most apropos since I failed out of grad school. It may not seem that devastating to some people, especially if you consider I've achieved quite a bit in my schooling. I have 2 graduate degrees thus far, and a BA, and I'm working on a 3rd graduate degree right now. And also, considering I overcame a lot, I had learning disability at age 7. I was diagnosed with some, unnamed disability, and I just assumed that's just being me.
But you're handsome.
I know that, actually. So, the miracle that I achieved so much would probably impress even the most exacting of achievers. Yet, anyone who saw my high school transcripts would wonder how I ended up graduating. And might even wonder whether I really should be in prison. I was a teenage television-watching truant. But here I am now, a full-time adjunct English instructor who can barely spell on some days, let alone utter anything resembling proper grammar. Phooey on grammar. That's the other F word. In February of 2013, I received a letter saying my 4th attempt at my comprehensive specialization exam for a PhD had failed by a 2-vote-to-1 margin. I was thus dismissed from the program I was in, my appeals exhausted. At the time, there was little that could comfort me. 7 years of my life had seemed wasted, although not completely. In those 7 years, I had become a UU. I had a pleasant 4 years with my ex-girlfriend, who also was a UU, and I might add, an atheist Sunday school teacher. She was also 10 years older and much hipper than I was. I met lots of fun and eccentric people in Central Illinois. And Central Illinois is a place where everybody has their American flag posted every day, or it seems like every day, even the Democrats. But at the end of that experience, I found myself $100,000 in debt in county. And in the same position I was in before, an adjunct professor earning at best $20,000 per year. So I moved back to Vegas. In fact, I arrived back on D-Day of 2013. And currently I take care of my parents while wondering what I want to do. And right now, of course, I wrote this a year ago. Now I'm in a program to become a school teacher in Clark County because I'm a glutton for punishment. Yeah. My life goes on. I may not achieve my dreams, or I might not pay off my debts, although I will when I die. Oh. One way or another, when I die, I will be rich and famous. But I continue on. The UU Church has provided me, although the word hope is not the best word, it's provided me hope. Perhaps it's just belonging to a community of like-minded people. We all share similar values, 7 principles, even if we are all completely different breeds of cats. Failure, despite the self-help stories of rags to riches, doesn't always end in success. Although sometimes it does. And how do we define success? Those who fail face excruciating consequences such as divorce, poverty, homelessness, death. Yet we stigmatize failure as a lack of effort or merit. We have stigmatized drug addiction, obesity, mental illness, cancer as diseases of moral weakness. Up until the last 40 years, we've stigmatized gays, lesbians, and transgender people. And we stigmatized people of color and different religions and genders. Nearly everyone who has lived, save for those of us in this room, have failed to achieve immortality. I'm still waiting. I promised I wouldn't make this a sermon filled with inspirational quotes, but I lied. Elizabeth Bishop, in her poem One Art, reminds us that the art of losing isn't too hard to master, though it may look like disaster. Write it, she implores all of us, including herself. We must express our pain. Write it, whether you think you're good or not. Being good does not matter. Writing it does. The Bhagavad Gita, I don't know if I pronounced that right, tells us to let go of the results of right action. One translation says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. We shouldn't compare ourselves to others, suggests the Just for Today poem that is often read in Al-Anon meetings and other 12-step meetings. In some versions of the poem, it explicitly states that just for today, I will not compare myself to others. Samuel Beckett, who I took the title of this sermon, tells us, ever tried, ever failed? No matter, try again, fail again, fail better. Although the quote was taken out of context, and perhaps most of the writing that comes from is probably rather depressing. Just being honest. However, I have to admit, Waiting for Godot is probably still one of my favorite plays. So, the message that I have is forgive yourself for your shortcomings and forgive others. We may not always live up to our potential, but as meditation expert John Kabat-Zinn said, as long as you are breathing, there is more right with you than wrong with you. Our opening hymn today had these words by Alicia Carpenter that sums up what what I have to offer best. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I've made my way, still of hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as we have breath, something is right with us.